everybody, and welcome to KM Reviews. I am Niddleman. If you're not already subscribed, make sure you subscribe to get updated reviews every single week. This time I'm bringing you the review for The Accountant starring Ben Affleck. And yes, this review is coming a bit late, but that's because I had some memory card issues and whatever. I'm still bringing it to you guys. So basically this movie is kind of a combination of Good Will Hunting and Jason Bourne. Basically, you got this guy that's super good at math. He's a savant. He has a hard time relating to people, but at the same time, he knows how to fight. He knows how to shoot guns. He knows how to be a badass. They're trying to make math sexy. They're trying to make it show you how autism and disabilities don't have to limit you in life. And I actually really liked this movie. I have to say one of the biggest things I liked was the acting in this movie. You know, Ben Affleck plays a character who's kind of, if you just look at it straightforward, it kind of looks like he plays a one-note character. He's kind of very one note. But if you've ever seen like the show Parenthood, or if you've ever dealt with anyone that's autistic in real life, you know that one of the biggest things is that they have a trouble understanding sarcasm. They have trouble relating to people or understanding sympathy. So while they're trying, they want to relate to people, they just can't sometimes. And I think Ben Affleck does a great job at portraying that. It doesn't feel like it's Oscar bait and he's trying to go over the top being this sympathetic autistic character. He just feels like he's just a guy that happens to have autism. And I really like how they show him as a kid, and whoever the actor was that played that kid did an awesome job. And they show him getting trained as a kid and how they're utilizing his autism to really turn him into this weapon of a character. I also really like the theme of and tone of family in this movie. Surprisingly, this movie was actually kind of emotional, especially near the end. The way they incorporate family, the way his brother and his father are incorporated into this movie, who kind of help him who he is, and how they, I don't want to give anything away, but just be realized that there's some family issues in this movie that may kind of surprise you. Now, while I did compare it to Jason Bourne as well, because there's some action in here, don't go into this movie thinking it's an action movie, because it's not. This movie is a lot more on the Good Will Hunting side. There's a lot of numbers, writing equations on windows, and trying to figure out who's stealing money from a business, and dealing with taxes and stuff like that. But they do it in a really interesting and compelling way that, you know, just makes you so interested in Ben Affleck's character, of how he went from where he was as a kid to who he is today, kind of how he got there, and it's just really interesting. I really want to see a movie with Jon Bernthal, by the way, who plays the Punisher, if you're not familiar with his name. He is such a badass. He's one of these characters that can be such a cold-hearted badass in movies, but at the same time, he plays kind of like Tom Hardy. He plays this guy with this tough exterior, but he has this real emotional core on the inside, and he slowly lets it out at the right times. And I want to see him as a leading man in a movie, because I think he could do it. And I think he and Tom Hardy need to be brothers in a movie at some point, because they're so similar in their acting styles. And Tom Hardy's already made it big. It's time for Jon Bernthal to break out, man. I think if there's any cons to this movie, it would really be the J.K. Simmons storyline, where he basically plays like this treasurer or politician of some kind. It wasn't super clear. That is basically trying to figure out who Ben Affleck's character is. And you don't really know why he cares until a little bit later on in the movie. But that whole storyline just kind of fell flat. It was really pointless. It didn't need to be there at all. And when you kind of realize what that whole storyline entails, it's just kind of pointless. And it just made the movie longer than it needed to be, which is the other negative, is the pacing, is that sometimes the movie can be a little bit slow. And I think if they just removed that whole J.K. Simmons trying to figure out who he is storyline, this movie would have been immensely better. So at the end of the day, guys, I'm going to give this movie a one-night stand. I had fun while I watched it. It was enjoyable, but there's nothing compelling enough about it that's going to make me want to see it again. Alright guys, so did you see this movie? What did you think about it? Let me know and comment below. Also, stay tuned for more movie reviews if you can handle it. Go.